Okay. Welcome to the Space Limited Accomplishments Interval. I'm Lance Ash, and this is...
His victim. His unwilling victim.
I see. That's Bonnie Ash, my wife, at the driver's wheel, and I'm in the passenger bucket. And I'm going to let Bonnie come up with today's theme or topic.
Wasting our time.
Yeah, this is a waste of time.
No, that's the theme.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's why the theme is that. But I have good news, everyone. I'm going to be back to driving very soon.
About 3 weeks' time, roughly.
No, it won't be 3 weeks. It's going to be like tomorrow.
You funny man. And then you're going to have a wreck, and you're going to destroy the only car that we have, and then you're going to get maimed. You're going to end up losing your job. You're going to have dying. We're going to end up losing insurance. And then Peter and I both die also.
What a prospect of delight you paint. All right.
Just want you to know that.
Now, I'll be driving very soon. As a matter of fact, this coming weekend, I'm going to be practicing driving. So let's start off our program with a discussion of the weekend. Can you give us a rundown of what happened this weekend?
Oh, you had a 3-day weekend.
Yeah.
We had a shit ton of stuff to do. You had an appointment. Peter had an appointment. I had an appointment. You had blood work. Jesus, it's been a very busy week. And then we went out Friday morning and walked around for a bit in a most unproductive way, shooting nonsensical things in the neighborhood that just was way too hot at 8 a.m. in the morning, eating at a terrible bakery with really dry bread. Ugh. And then when the prospect of going out again Friday night came up, we both looked at the museum's offerings and went, this is not worth going out in 106-degree heat, which is what the relative humidity had it out at that point.
I want to point out something about that museum thing. All right. The university has a museum called the Georgia Museum of Art, and right next to it is the School of Art, which is oftentimes more interesting to walk around in than the museum. So there's a lot of hassle about driving over there on a weekday. So I thought, well, we'll look it up online, see what shows they're having, what artists they're having, exhibitions. Now, one of them was special bequest or offering on loan from the J. Rittenhouse Meyerson collection or some shit to modern day abstract sculptors, and it was just 2 pieces of art, one of which
rusted, crappy,
one of which was clearly 2 pieces of tin roofing that were mushed and crumpled together and painted sort of a rust red, and the other piece by the other artist was very similar. Now, to be honest, if it was 50 pieces of this kind of stuff in a gallery, I'd love to go see it. But 2 pieces? I don't mind. There's a big, we've gone over this debate before about, lazy art that you still like, or lazy art that's just insulting to you. But anyway, that was just one thing. What?
You mean like that lazy piece of shit art we saw at Linden House that made it into the exhibition, the juried exhibition one year, where it was a plastic box with crepe paper in it?
It was 9 different colors of crepe paper rolled up into rolls and put into basically some sort of
tackle box, small tackle box or a small nail box or something.
And that was accepted, and I've had paintings rejected year after year to the point where I just finally gave up.
Now, you did place a couple of times, and you did have a sale up there.
I had a sale, and I also won a little award one year up there. But what the final straw was, I had 3 really good pieces of art, and I submitted them all, and all 3 were rejected. And I have those set aside in a special place in the old studio because one day they're going to come begging, "Oh, Lance, we've heard."
Lance, please.
Okay, we won't talk about that. Any more to say about that?
It is amazing what passes off as art. Now,
Okay.
It's also amazing what I look at and see artistic beauty in.
Right, and I don't have a problem with that. But 2 pieces of art?
Yeah, it's not much of a contribution to, or a collection or a show. Peter went to see it the same day with his girlfriend, and he said that I think he said it was Japanese pottery. He said it was crap, that the pieces were nothing special. I had better pottery. And I do have a very good pottery collection. And he said that there was another thing, there was a postmodernist something or another exhibit or something. And I said, "Oh, did you see the one with the melted metal chair?" He goes, "Oh, the metal chair that was wrapped around a piece of a car?" I was like, "Is that what it was?" They were not impressed.
Well, the one I saw that initially attracted my attention was, something about abstract expressionism, and then it said modern abstract
Yeah,
expressionists.
that's what it was.
I have no interest in that. Now, the original guys, yeah, I'd go see an exhibit of that stuff, but no. I wish I could go see it's been years since I've seen a really decent exhibit at that museum.
Yeah. Here.
But I wanted to go to the art school and walk around because that's just a just monstrous labyrinth of hallways and stuff, and the little studio.
Tiny galleries.
Yeah, they have little impromptu, informal galleries just on the side of the wall. It said like, "This is the Bozo Gallery," and they'll stuff.
They even have Locker 666 up there that is a rotating gallery inside one of the student lockers where they display different things. And most of the time it's a lot more interesting than the permanent collection at the Georgia Museum of Art.
Yeah.
Yeah, which seldom if ever gets changed out. I bet you, though, we could walk into the High Museum this week and probably see some of the same stuff they've had on exhibit for the last 30 years.
The High Museum is a joke. The top floor is the only rotating rotating exhibits. The others are permanent, and one floor is like furniture, and it's garbage. It's just,
I have seen a couple of good exhibitions there. I saw an exhibition of Monet's paintings, studies in light, anything from hayfields to parliament houses. That was magnificent. I actually had somebody tell me, "Please stay behind the line," because I wanted to see the brush strokes on the houses, one of his houses in Parliament pictures. And another great exhibit I saw was shortly after the Berlin Wall came down, there was a huge influx of East German art that made it out. The artists that had not gotten the okay from the state, that were not lauded, these were everyday artists, and it was fascinating. These were artists who basically had to scrimp together their supplies, were painting and sketching with things like charcoal soot on cardboard pieces of cardboard rather, pieces of wood they could find, scraps, things like that. And in that same exhibit, it was strange, they had an Edvard Munch, a Madonna piece, and around the edge of the Madonna piece was a border, and it looked like squiggling sperm. It was the strangest thing.
I'm surprised at the amount of really, really good art that came out of East Germany. In fact, many of my favorite painters are from East Germany. But
Our favorite band is from East Germany.
Well, Rammstein is all composed of people who grew up in East Germany, and they all started off in basically in punk bands that were around while East Germany was still a viable state. And but yeah, my favorite painters in general are post-war German, East and West. And anyway, what else did we do this weekend?
I went through a lot of books. I've been ordering pulp fiction mysteries. I've also been ordering decorating books. And one of the things I do with the decorating books is I use them as an affirmation that what I'm doing is right. That's kind of strange. But the other thing I look for is the art that is on display in these homes.
Exactly. I like that
And
too.
I love finding the unique pieces, the ones that inspire you. I kept coming across these rather simplistic pieces, and I thought I could do that either in embroidery or in collage. And so I'm going to be bookmarking a couple of those to see what I can create in the style of. And I love the fact that it doesn't have to be famous art. It can be something that's, again, in a certain style. The Expressionist stuff really stuck out this weekend. And sometimes I might be able to say, oh, that's in the style of such and such artist, etc. And there might be some famous works, either real or copies of, but the ones that always seem to get my attention continuously are the individual artists of little or no renown.
Exactly. I was about to say I'm very influenced by what I call minor artists. I have a lot of books of interiors from, say, the 60s, and the artwork on the walls in these places is fascinating to me.
Well, the books I've been getting are include a lot of decorators' homes, and I think it's interesting that a lot of these decorators for their own homes choose a variety of artists and not necessarily those that are just in vogue or the classics.
Yeah. I told Bonnie, basically, what makes the work of art is the frame. You just put a frame around anything, and all of a sudden, there it is. I was rereading or skimming through an old novel I wrote back in 2008, and I was stunned at how good it was on the one hand, and on the other, how much it fit into this mythology, so to speak, that I've been developing and that I'm still utilizing today. It's just, yeah, a lot of the characters, a lot of the themes and the stuff I'm doing now were already present back then. And I have, I don't know where any of the files are for this stuff. All I have are the physical copy. I would make one copy of the all this stuff. So, oh, look at that Prius. Anyway, yeah, when we went out, was it Friday morning?
Yes.
Bonnie said, I got an idea. We can stop at this bakery I've heard about. And we walked in, and I just had a bad feeling immediately. And I got a croissant, which was it was about $4.
Yeah.
And Bonnie bought something, and she got something for our son, and we went back to the car to eat it, and I took a bite, and she goes, how is it? I said, dry. It was just a crumbly, crackling mess.
Yeah.
I mean, it was okay. If it had been $1, it would have been fine, but for $4? No.
I went and got the croissants from the deli this weekend, and those were a dozen for $7. They were a lot better.
Well, the problem with those,
they're a little too greasy.
they're greasy. They're not, yeah. There's no substance to them, but
they tasted a lot better. And you end up eating the whole croissant. I ended up holding my pan au chocolat, which was the croissant with chocolate in it. Holding it over a plate, and Lance thought I was dipping it into something because there was so much the crumb and the layers that were just too dry to eat. It was terrible.
Well, like those store-bought croissants, those grocery store croissants, you can slap jelly on them or whatever, and there's enough surface area.
Oh, you have one with basil and mozzarella, tomatoes.
Well, that's the other thing I was going to say was you can slice them in half and put stuff in them. That thing I got at the thing, it would have fallen apart if you tried to cut it in half.
It did fall apart. It did. As you were eating it, it went all over your shirt, in the car. We were eating it over the bag. It was just terrible. When I got home, I tried to finish mine over a bowl, and again, it just fell off into pieces. It was terrible, terrible, terrible.
The whole enterprise, I could tell, was just one of these idealistic communal efforts, which I have no problem with.
Especially when the girls are wearing tank tops and no bras, and they have little handkerchiefs holding their hair back. They're all
very stereotypical, yes.
But yeah, and you get to watch the people make the food, and they put it in these little glass containers, and there's a little counter you stand at to get it. There's no place to eat, but you just stand there and get your little thing in a row, and
the
you
guy
walk out, and it's just not.
The guy feeding stuff into the oven was one of these. He's another
bearded hipster type.
No, he wouldn't bearded, but he was about somewhere between 40 and 50, maybe older, skinny as a rail, and big glasses, and it's just, I don't know. I don't want to get. It took me a while to work up a psychological profile, but it's a type that I've met 100 times in my life. When you're younger, you see these guys, and you're like, "Hey, this is an older dude who's a neo-hippie, and he's, oh, how cool to be that." And then when you get to my age, and you meet him, you're like, "No, he's a loser. I'm perfectly content to work here at the bakery and then go home and listen to Phil Oakes. Light a candle for world peace." And so, anything else? I cut down some, what?
I feel like I got nothing done around the house this weekend.
Well, I got some trees cut down that were growing up against the side of the house. I was afraid if they got too big, the roots would tear the foundation up. And dragging them over to the burn pile was just at the very limit of my strength and endurance. I was gasping.
Drag them over. And you had to stop and get Peter to help you the next day without him.
Right, but the next day we got a strap, and I thought, well, two of us should be able to pull on this strap and drag them over. No, it was too much. So I got him to pull the strap, and I got deep inside the tree and picked it up off the ground, and I was gasping and panting by the end of it, as if I'd just done some wind sprints.
I did cut the grass this weekend. That was a nightmare. But I got out there when it was still 80 degrees, or 75 degrees, and then it turned to 80. And this is like 8 o'clock. I went in to use the bathroom. It was 80 degrees, and it said by 9 o'clock it would be 85 degrees. And when I'd been out there at 80 degrees, the humidity had made it feel like it was 85. But by the time it got up to like 9 or 10, and when it was going to be 85 degrees actual, it was going to back up to over 100 with the humidity. So I knew I had to get out there and just stick with it and finish it. So I did manage. I was running on fumes at the end, but it did get done.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you did it. I hate living. I mean, I like having all the land we have, but I hate having to keep up with the yard work. I'd rather have. My mother has a team of people that she comes over and cuts the grass for. And
mostly her boyfriend. I think that's who was out there again today.
Yeah, but Jose and his team of guys come over and.
Yeah. Maybe we ought to get a quote from Jose and his team.
I bet you he'd charge $100. I'm not paying $100 to get the yard.
No. I meant $100. Would you pay $100 to get some of that front garden worked on? Annihilate it? Eliminate it?
Look, over the course of the next week or two, I'm just going to nuke it with Roundup and just kill all that for once and for all. I spent all that work cutting it down, and now it's growing right back up again.
It is wild.
All right, we have 30 seconds to go. Anything to add?
Nope.
Okay. Well, I guess that's about it. So thank you very much for listening. Bye-bye.